You don't arrive in Venice. You fall into it. There is no gradual transition, no slow fade from the ordinary world into this one. One moment you're on a train, watching the flat gray expanse of the Italian mainland blur past your window, and then the water appears. Pale, silver, impossibly wide, and then the city rises from it. Not like something built, but like something that simply decided to exist there, defying every rational argument against it. Brick by ancient brick, arch by crumbling arch. A city that should have sunk centuries ago but simply refused to. Today is your day here. Not the day of the tour groups with matching lanyards. Not the day of the cruise ship crowds who will march from the station to St. Mark's Square and back in 90 minutes. Checking a box on a list of today belongs to you and to a version of Venice that most people walk right past without ever seeing. Put your phone in your pocket, take a breath. Let the salt air hit the back of your throat. This is where we begin. It is just past 6 in the morning, and the light above the lagoon is doing something no photographer has ever fully managed to capture, though God knows they've tried. The sky is the color of a bruised peach, that specific, heartbreaking shade between night and full dawn, where the darkness hasn't surrendered completely but the light is already winning. Step off the train at Santa Lucia station and stop. Just stop. Right there at the top of the steps. The Grand Canal opens in front of you, like a sentence that takes your breath. A gondolier is untying his boat on the far bank, moving with the unhurried confidence of someone who has done this 10,000 times. The water is dark green this early, reflecting the orange glow of the street lamps. The smell reaches you next. Salt, diesel, old stone. And underneath it all, something older, something mineral and deep that belongs only to this lagoon and nowhere else on earth. Don't take the vaporetto yet. Turn left out of the station, away from the instinctive crowd, and follow the narrow fundamenta along the canal. At this hour it belongs to you, and to the local women already out with their shopping bags, heels clicking against the damp stone in a rhythm as old as the city itself. Your own footsteps join theirs. Tap tap tappa, stone laid down in the 16th century, worn smooth by millions of feet that wanted exactly what you want this morning to be, in this impossible place, to feel it underfoot, to believe it is real. Cross the first small bridge and enter Cannaregio, the northernmost neighborhood, the one the guidebooks mention last and the Venetians love most. De Cagiera, never streets, always calli, are narrow enough that you could touch both walls by stretching your arms wide. The buildings lean slightly toward each other above you, as if sharing a secret. You'll smell the bakery before you see it. That warm, yeasty breath curling around a corner will find you. Step inside, point at the cornetto, filled with crema pasticcera, that dense vanilla custard glory, and say on Kafka. Accept the espresso that appears, dark and small, in a white cup. Stand at the counter to drink it, because that's what you do here. The coffee hits the back of your throat like a warm hand on the shoulder. Outside the window, the calli is waking up. You think, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. By 8 in the morning, Venice is conducting its daily miracle of logistics, and you need to see it. Make your way to the Mercato di Rialto, which has occupied the same bend in the Grand Canal since the 11th century and has no intention of moving. Come at it through the fish market, the Pesceria, where the day's catch is already arranged on marble slabs surrounded by crushed ice. The colors stop you, silvery branzino still flashing, squid nearly translucent, ink still wet. The fishmongers call to each other in the thick Venetian dialect. That rapid, slightly nasal music, the sound of a city that has been alive here for 1,000 years. Move through into the fruit and vegetable market. Pyramids of blood, oranges red as garnets, artichokes the size of your fist. Radicchio di Treviso, paio d'incasso all'abbondanza. An elderly man is negotiating the price of a single bunch of asparagus with the seriousness of a diplomatic summit. This is Venice, before the tourists arrive. This is the city feeding itself. Cross the Rialto bridge before 9, before the souvenir stalls opened along its parapet, when it's still just a bridge. Look down at the Grand Canal from its highest point and understand, finally, how this city works. The water is the road. The boats are the buses, the taxis, the delivery trucks. A barge loaded with building materials navigates, past a water taxi carrying a woman in a silk blouse who is checking her phone as though she is on any ordinary commute. She is not. None of this is ordinary. Now lose yourself. This is not a suggestion. It is an instruction. Put away the map. Turn into the labyrinth of San Paulo, and when you reach a junction, pick the kale that looks darker and more interesting. Keep going. You will get lost. You will turn a corner expecting to find your way and discover instead a tiny campo with a stone wellhead at its center and a single tree. Growing at an impossible angle between the paving stones, you will hear children in a school somewhere above you. You will pass a door left open onto an interior courtyard full of wisteria and a cat sitting on a step as if posing for a painting not yet commissioned. Venice rewards attention. The more slowly you move, the more it reveals. Find your way to Campo Santa Margherita. Around 11, you'll know you've arrived, because it hums. University students, local mothers with strollers, a fishmonger stall at the far end. Sit down. Order a spritz aperol, prosecco, splash of soda, a slice of orange. The spritz is the color of a Venetian sunset, which is not a coincidence. It is bitter and sweet simultaneously, and it tastes like belonging somewhere. Here, while you sit, consider this. Venice has survived plagues, Napoleon, 2 world wars, and centuries of rising water without sacrificing its soul, its pace, its insistence on taking lunch seriously. For lunch, find a bacaro, one of Venice's small, ancient wine bars. Where the counter is covered in plates of things you want to eat, you'll find palpette, small fried meatballs dense with herbs. You'll find baccal, mantecato whipped salt cod, spread thick on grilled polenta, which sounds humble and tastes extraordinary. You'll find sard in sour sardines, in a sweet sour onion, pine nut and raisin marinade, invented by sailors who needed food that would keep on long voyages, and accidentally created a dish of startling complexity. Orderte umbra, this Molaus wine. It's cold and sharp and fits in your hand like it was made for exactly this moment. The afternoon light in Venice is the reason painters came from across Europe to study it. The reason Turner spent 3 visits trying to capture it and never quite got it right, though his failures are among the most beautiful in art history. By 2 o'clock, the light on the lagoon thickens, turns golden, bounces off the water and up onto the undersides of bridges from below, creating a luminosity that seems to come from everywhere at once. Take Vaporetto, line 1, the slow one, the one that stops everywhere, down the Grand Canal. Sit at the front of the outside deck. What happens next will be one of the genuine visual experiences of your life. The Grand Canal is a procession of palaces. The Cadoro, with its gilded Gothic lacework. The Caio Rezzonico, where Robert Browning died. Looking out at exactly this view, you are watching a city from the angle it was designed to be seen from. From the water. From below. This is the moment, if you've felt that tightening in the chest. That specific ache of witnessing something you know you'll spend years trying to describe. This is the moment to be part of this journey. If these words and images are giving you something real, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments. Which city should we go to next? Head to the Zattere, by 5. This long promenade faces the island of Giudecca across open water. And in the late afternoon it belongs to the Venetians doing their passeggiata, not for exercise, not for a destination, but for the pure pleasure of the evening stroll. Walk among them, an old man in a pressed jacket with a dignified dog, 2 women in their 70s walking arm in arm, still finding plenty to say after 50 years of friendship. The sun is descending now and the water is turning. The flat gray-green of midday is gone, replaced by rose, amber, deep molten orange. At the very last moment before the sun drops, violet, a brief, extraordinary violet that spreads across the entire western sky and reflects perfectly in the lagoon below. Stop walking. See it fierce. Let it happen in your actual eyes before you reach for your camera. For dinner, find a trattoria in Castello. The Cannaregio Sestiere, where the menu is handwritten and changes with what arrived at the market this morning. Order the bigoli and salsa, thick Venetian pasta and slow-cooked onions and anchovies. Deeply saboric, deeply unlike anything you'd expect. Let the meal take the time it wants to take. This is not a culture that hurries dinner. After dinner walk to Piazza San Marco. Go after 9. When the crowds have thinned, stand in the center and turn slowly in a circle. The basilica to the east, its 5 domes and Byzantine mosaics, blazing with gold. The Doge's palace to the south. The orchestra, a Kafklorian, playing something slightly melancholy across the stones. Understand what you're standing in. This was the center of a maritime empire that stretched from Venice to Cyprus, that controlled the spice trade and wrote the rules of commerce, and built this impossible city in the middle of a lagoon because someone, 1,000 years ago, looked at the water and saw not an obstacle, but a foundation. Walk slowly back through the night, calli. Pay attention to things you didn't notice this morning. A lit window in a high palazzo, creating a warm rectangle against the dark stone. The sound of water moving through the canal at your feet. At the last bridge before your door, stop, look, back. Venice is doing what it does at night, disappearing slightly. The lights are low, the reflections in the water shift with every passing boat, and for a moment the city looks like a watercolor left out in the rain. Its edges soft, its colors bleeding gently together. Impossible, still, beautiful, still, entirely itself. 24 hours was never going to be enough. That's the city's secret and its gift. Venice gives you enough to love it, never enough to feel finished with it. You leave with a list of calli unexplored. Cicchetti, Unatin bridges uncrossed. This is not a failure. This is an invitation. And the question you'll carry back across the water. If Venice can exist, if a city can rise from the sea and survive 1,000 years on nothing but salt water, stubbornness, and beauty, what else is possible that we haven't yet imagined? Come back and find out.